The knife caught Kim Jung in the ribs first, then the second blade found his spine. He crashed against the warehouse wall, blood spreading across his white shirt like spilled ink. 4 men circled him in the darkness, their faces hidden behind masks, their intentions crystal clear. This wasn't a warning. This was an execution. Kim Jung's hand shot out, catching the third attacker's wrist and twisting until bones snapped. The man's scream echoed through the empty space. But there were too many. A boot slammed into his chest. Another knife, this one aimed for his throat, and Kim Jung barely rolled away in time. The blade caught his shoulder instead, tearing through muscle. He fought like a cornered animal, taking 2 more down before the 4th man brought a metal pipe across his skull. The world tilted. His vision blurred. And then the real damage began. Kicks to his ribs, his back, his legs. But the worst came last, a deliberate vicious strike between his legs that made him vomit from the pain. He heard laughter as darkness swallowed him whole. 3 days later, Kim Jung woke up in a private hospital room bathed in sterile white light. His body felt like it had been put through a meat grinder and sewn back together with rusty wire. Every breath sent lightning through his ribs. But the physical pain was nothing compared to what came next. The doctor entered, an older man with kind eyes that couldn't hide the pity. That look told Kim Jung everything before the man even opened his mouth. "Mr. Kim, you're awake. Good. We need to discuss your condition." The doctor pulled up a chair, settling in with the careful posture of someone delivering life-altering news. "The physical wounds will heal. Broken ribs, torn muscles, the concussion. All of that we can fix. But the trauma to your pelvic region combined with the spinal nerve damage, I need you to understand the reality we're facing." Kim Jung stared at the ceiling tiles, counting them. 36, 37, 38. The damage severed connections. Nerves that control, well, intimate function. "Mr. Kim, are you listening?" "I'm listening." "You may never function as a man again. Intimacy, physical response, all of it could be permanently affected. We can try treatments, therapy, but I need you to prepare for the possibility that this is permanent." The words hung in the air like smoke. Kim Jung kept counting ceiling tiles. 42. 43. Easier to count than to feel. Easier to focus on anything except the reality that his body had just become a prison. "How long until I can walk?" His voice came out flat, emotionless. "Mr. Kim, did you hear what I just said?" "I heard you." "How long until I can walk?" The doctor sighed, removing his glasses to clean them. "A nervous habit. 2 weeks with aggressive physical therapy. But Kim Jung, you need to process this. The psychological impact alone is significant. I'd like to refer you to a counselor who specializes in trauma." "That won't be necessary." "When can I leave?" "In 3 days if the swelling continues to decrease. But I strongly recommend." 3 days then. "Thank you, doctor." The doctor left, taking his pity with him. Kim Jung lay in that hospital bed and felt absolutely nothing. Not anger. Not grief. Not even fear. Just a vast, echoing emptiness where something vital used to live. 6 months crawled by like wounded animals. Kim Jung returned to his empire, that sprawling network of underground businesses that kept Seoul's shadows profitable. To the outside world, nothing had changed. He still controlled the flow of illegal money through the city's veins. Still commanded respect through calculated brutality. Still made men twice his size tremble with a glance. But inside, Kim Jung was a ghost. He went through the motions of being alive. Attended meetings. Made decisions. Eliminated problems. But there was no satisfaction in any of it. No plaisir. No feeling at all. Just mechanical existence wrapped in expensive suits. His penthouse became a beautiful cage. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Seoul's glittering skyline, but the view might as well have been a brick wall. A bed large enough for 4 people, but he always slept alone, and sleep was more like brief unconsciousness between stretches of staring at darkness. A life built on control, now mocking him with its absolute emptiness. Minho noticed first. His right-hand man for 8 years, the closest thing Kim Jung had to a friend in this world of enemies and temporary allies. They sat in the private office, going over accounts from their Busan operations, when Minho finally broke the silence that had been building for weeks. "Boss, you haven't left the penthouse except for business in 3 months." Kim Jung didn't look up from the ledger. Numbers made sense. Numbers had rules. Numbers didn't remind him of everything he'd lost. "Your point?" My point is you're not living. You're existing. There's a difference. I exist just fine. Your sister called me yesterday. Minho's tone shifted, became more careful. She's worried. Says you won't take her calls. Kim Jung's jaw tightened. Ji-won. His younger sister, the only person in this world who still saw him as human instead of monster. She'd been spared the family business, sent abroad for education, married to a decent man who ran a legitimate tech company. She knew what Kim Jung did vaguely but not the details. Never the details. Tell her I'm busy. I did. Multiple times. She didn't believe me. Minho leaned forward, his expression serious. Boss, she arranged something. A fitting at some boutique in Gangnam for the winter charity gala next month. She's insisting you go. Says if you don't show up, she'll come to the office herself. Kim Jung's eyes finally lifted from the page. She wouldn't. She absolutely would. You know how your sister gets when she sets her mind to something. Silence stretched between them, heavy with unspoken understanding. Ji-won was stubborn, had been since childhood. And the last thing Kim Jung needed was his sister anywhere near his world, asking questions, seeing too much, getting ideas about fixing him like he was one of her charity projects. Fine, he said finally, the word tasting like defeat. Schedule it. 1 hour, no more. Minho's relief was visible. I'll let her know. The boutique is called Essence. Owner's name is Jasmine Park. Your sister says she's the best in Gangnam. I don't care if she's the best in Seoul. 1 hour, then I'm done. 3 days later, Kim Jung found himself standing outside Essence Boutique in the heart of Gangnam. Late afternoon sun cast everything in gold, softening the edges of the city's relentless energy. He'd sent his usual security detail away, much to their confusion. Something about walking into a clothing store with 3 armed men felt absurd even by his standards. The boutique looked intimate from the outside, elegant without being pretentious. Through the window he could see racks of carefully curated clothing, soft lighting, and absolutely no one. Good. The faster he got through this, the faster he could return to his comfortable numbness. The door chimed softly as he entered. Jazz played from hidden speakers, something smooth and old. The air smelled like jasmine and something else, something warm and inviting that he couldn't quite identify. Sandalwood maybe. Vanilla. Something that made him want to breathe deeper despite himself. Good afternoon. The voice came from behind him, warm and melodic with a hint of playfulness underneath. Welcome to Essence. You must be Mr. Kim. Kim Jung turned and his entire world stopped. She stood in the doorway leading to the back room, and she was beautiful in a way that had nothing to do with the manufactured perfection he was used to seeing. Natural. Warm. Her smile reached her eyes, genuine and curious, studying him with open interest rather than the fear or calculation he usually encountered. She moved toward him with easy confidence, comfortable in her own skin in a way that seemed almost foreign. I'm Jasmine, she continued, extending her hand. Your sister has told me so much about you. She's very excited about this gala. Kim Jung stared at her hand for a moment too long before taking it. Her skin was soft, warm. The contact sent electricity up his arm, and then something impossible happened. Something the doctors had sworn would never happen again. Heat flooded through him. Awareness crashed over his senses like a wave. His body responding to her presence, to her voice, to her touch for the first time in 6 months of absolute nothing. His pulse kicked up. His breathing changed. And lower, much lower, a stirring that made his grip on her hand tighten involuntarily. Jasmine's smile faltered slightly, her eyes flickering with concern. Mr. Kim? Are you all right? You look a bit flushed. Kim Jung released her hand like it had burned him, taking a step back. His mind was screaming. This isn't possible. The doctor said. They told me it was permanent. 6 months of nothing, of deadness, of accepting that part of his life was over, and now, I'm fine. His voice came out rougher than intended, almost harsh. Just tired from meetings. Oh, of course. Well, let's make this easy then. She turned and walked deeper into the boutique, her movements graceful and unself-conscious. Your sister mentioned you need something for the winter gala. I've pulled a few pieces that I think would be perfect. The event is black tie, but there's room for personal style within that framework. Kim Jung followed her, and it took every ounce of control he possessed to walk normally. His body was betraying him in ways he'd thought impossible, responding to her with an intensity that bordered on painful after months of absolute numbness. Every step felt like walking through fire and ice simultaneously. Jasmine pulled several items from the racks, talking as she worked. Her hands moved with practiced confidence, selecting fabrics, checking labels, completely oblivious to the war happening inside him. Your sister said you typically wear darker colors. Black, navy, gray. Classic choices, very sharp. But I think for a charity gala, something that shows a bit more personality wouldn't hurt. What do you think of this? She held up a deep burgundy tie, the silk catching the light like liquid wine. Kim Jung stared at it, barely processing her words. All he could focus on was the way her perfume filled his lungs, the way her voice wrapped around him like physical touch, the way his body was waking up cell by cell after months of hibernation. That's fine, he managed, the words clipped and cold. Jasmine's eyebrows rose, amusement dancing in her eyes. Just fine? Mr. Kim, this is Valentino silk. Hand-stitched in Florence. It's considerably better than fine. Under normal circumstances, Kim Jung would have appreciated her boldness. No one corrected him. No one teased him. People either feared him or wanted something from him, and both groups knew better than to challenge him on anything. But these weren't normal circumstances. Every second in her presence was unraveling his control, waking up parts of him he'd mourned and buried. It's acceptable, he corrected, his tone flat. Acceptable. She repeated the word like she was tasting something sour. You know, your sister warned me you'd be difficult. She said you hate shopping, hate being fussed over, and would probably try to leave within 10 minutes. I told her I could handle difficult clients. She hung the tie back up and turned to face him fully, hands on her hips. But she didn't mention you'd be this stubborn about a simple tie. Kim Jung's jaw tightened. Mississippi Park. Jasmine, please. Mississippi Park makes me feel like a school teacher. Jasmine, he ground out, and saying her name felt dangerous somehow, intimate in a way he wasn't prepared for. I appreciate your expertise, but I don't have time for extended deliberations about fabric origins. Pick whatever you think works. I'll buy it. That's not how this works. She moved closer, close enough that he could see gold flecks in her brown eyes. Fashion isn't just about covering your body, Mr. Kim. It's about expressing who you are. And right now, I don't know who you are because you won't let me see anything beyond this wall you've built. Her words hit too close to home. Kim Jung felt his control slipping further, the heat in his body intensifying. This was a mistake. Coming here was a mistake. Every instinct screamed at him to leave, to get away from this woman who was doing impossible things to him with nothing more than her presence. I need to leave, he said abruptly, already turning toward the door. What? But we haven't even looked at the suits yet. Your sister specifically said. I'll come back. He was moving now, desperate to escape before he did something stupid. Before she noticed. Before this situation became even more complicated than it already was. Mr. Kim, wait. Jasmine followed him, confusion clear in her voice. Did I say something wrong? If I offended you, I apologize. Sometimes I come on too strong with the personal approach, but I promise I'm good at what I do. Your sister wouldn't have sent you here otherwise. He paused at the door, his hand on the handle, fighting every urge to turn around and look at her one more time. Looking at her made everything worse. Made the impossible sensation stronger. Made him want things he'd convinced himself were dead forever. You did nothing wrong, he said, not turning around. I just remembered something urgent. I'll reschedule. But... The door chimed as he pushed through it, cutting off whatever she was going to say. Cool evening air hit his flushed skin like a shock. Kim Jung made it to his car and sat there, gripping the steering wheel so hard his knuckles went white, his breathing harsh and uneven. What the hell just happened? But he knew. He knew exactly what happened. For 6 months he'd been dead inside, convinced that the attack had stolen something he'd never get back. The doctors had been certain. The damage was too severe. The psychological trauma compounding the physical. He'd accepted it, built walls around that acceptance, convinced himself that power and control would be enough. And then Jasmine spoke, smiled, existed in his space for 15 minutes, and everything came roaring back to life with a vengeance that left him shaking. Kim Jung drove home in a daze, his mind spinning with implications. He went straight to his penthouse, bypassing Minho's attempts to brief him on the day's business, and locked himself in his bedroom. He stood at the floor-to-ceiling windows, staring out at Seoul's endless lights, and tried to make sense of the impossible. The doctors had been so certain. He'd seen 3 specialists, all of them saying the same thing. The nerve damage was too extensive. The psychological trauma too deep. He might regain some function with years of therapy, but the chances were slim. They'd recommended he accept his new reality and find ways to adapt. He believed them. Had no choice but to believe them when his body remained unresponsive to everything for 6 solid months. No atracción. No decide. Nothing. Just deadness where vitality used to live. But now those certainties were crumbling and he didn't know how to process it. Relief? Terror? Oh. All of it tangled together until he couldn't separate one emotion from another. Because if the doctors were wrong about this, what else were they wrong about? And if his body could respond to Jasmine after months of nothing, what did that mean? He pulled out his phone and did something he never did. He searched for information like a desperate man. Essence boutique, Gonyam. The website loaded, clean and elegant, matching the space he'd just fled. There she was on the About page. Jasmine Park, owner and curator. Originally from Busan, trained in fashion design in Paris, returned to Seoul 3 years ago to open her own boutique focusing on personalized styling for high-end clients. The professional photos captured her beauty but somehow missed the warmth that radiated from her in person. Kim Jung stared at her picture until his phone screen went dark, then pulled it up again. This was insane. He was losing his mind. But his body disagreed. His body, which had been a prison for 6 months, was telling him something else entirely. If this story has you hooked, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now. Drop a comment below and tell me what you think Kim Jung should do next. Should he go back to the boutique or stay away from Jasmine? And smash that like button if you want to see where this impossible connection leads. Trust me, this is just the beginning. Now back to the story. Kim Jung tried to sleep but ended up staring at the ceiling until dawn painted the sky purple and gold. Every time he closed his eyes, he heard her voice, saw her smile, felt that impossible stirring of life in spaces that had been dead. His mind kept replaying those 15 minutes, analyzing every word, every gesture, trying to understand what had triggered such a dramatic response. When Minho showed up the next morning for their usual briefing, Kim Jung looked like he hadn't slept in days. Which was accurate. "Boss, you look terrible." Minho set down coffee and breakfast, his expression concerned. "What happened at the boutique yesterday? Your sister called me 3 times asking if you were okay. Said the owner contacted her worried because you practically ran out of there." Kim Jung picked up the coffee, grateful for something to do with his hands. "There was nothing. I had an urgent matter to attend to." "An urgent matter that made you lock yourself in your penthouse for 16 hours? Drop it, Minho." But Minho had worked for Kim Jung long enough to know when something was really wrong. He sat down across from his boss, studying him with the careful attention of someone who'd learned to read danger in subtle shifts of expression. "Boss, in 8 years I've seen you handle territorial wars, betrayals, assassination attempts, and that nightmare situation with the Busan crew. You've never looked rattled. But yesterday a boutique fitting rattled you. So either that woman is secretly an undercover cop, or something else happened that you're not telling me." Kim Jung set down the coffee cup with deliberate care. "The doctors were wrong." "Minho Moinket." "Wrong about what?" "Everything. They said it was permanent. That I'd never, that my body wouldn't." He trailed off, the words sticking in his throat. Even with Minho talking about this felt like exposing a wound. Understanding dawned across Minho's face, followed quickly by shock. "Wait, you mean yesterday with that woman? Her name is Jasmine. And yes, for the first time in 6 months I felt something. Everything. Like someone flipped a switch I thought was broken forever." Minho leaned back in his chair, processing this information. "That's good news, isn't it? That's what you've been hoping for." "I stopped hoping 3 months ago. Hope is dangerous." Kim Jung stood, pacing to the windows. Soul stretched below, indifferent to human suffering. "I built walls, Minho. Accepted my new reality. Convinced myself that power and control were enough. And then she smiled at me, and those walls crumbled in 15 minutes. So go back. See her again. Figure out if it was a fluke or if..." "And then what?" Kim Jung turned, his voice sharp. "Say it wasn't a fluke. Say my body actually responds to her specifically. What then? I pursue her? Drag her into my world? You know what happened to the last person who got close to me? That warehouse attack wasn't random. Someone sent those men because they wanted to hurt me, and they knew the best way was to break me physically." Minho's expression darkened. "We still haven't identified who ordered that hit." "Exactly. Which means they're still out there, watching, waiting for another opportunity. Anyone I show interest in becomes a target. And Jasmine, she's..." Kim Jung struggled to find words. "She's too bright. Too alive. This world would destroy her. Or maybe she's stronger than you think." Minho stood, moving to stand beside his boss. "Maybe she's exactly what you need to remember why you're fighting in the first place. You've been dead inside for 6 months, boss. I've watched you go through the motions of living, but you haven't actually been alive. If this woman can bring you back, isn't that worth the risk? Kim Jung wanted to argue, but the words wouldn't come. Because Minho was right. He'd been a ghost piloting a body, performing the role of Kim Jung without actually being him. And yesterday, for 15 minutes, he'd felt real again. Your sister is going to call you today, Minho continued. She's going to ask why you bolted. What are you going to tell her? The truth. That I had an emergency. She won't believe you. Ji-won knows you too well. Minho headed for the door, then paused. For what it's worth, boss, I think you should go back. Not for the clothes, not for your sister. For yourself. You deserve to feel alive again. After Minho left, Kim Jung spent the day buried in work, trying to drown out the memory of Jasmine's voice with numbers and logistics. It didn't work. Nothing worked. She'd somehow imprinted herself on his consciousness in the span of a quarter hour, and he couldn't shake her loose. His sister called at noon. Then at 2. Then at 4. Kim Jung ignored all 3 calls. But when she called at 6, he knew she wouldn't stop until he answered. Appa, what happened? Ji-won's voice was equal parts worried and annoyed. Jasmine called me. She said you practically ran out of her boutique like the place was on fire. Are you okay? I'm fine, Ji-won. I had a business emergency. You always have business emergencies. That's never stopped you from finishing an appointment before. She paused, and Kim Jung could practically hear her mind working. Did she say something that upset you? Because Jasmine is honestly one of the nicest people I know. She wouldn't intentionally offend anyone. She didn't offend me. The fitting just wasn't a good time. Then go back. Reschedule. The gala is in 3 weeks, Appa. You need something to wear. Kim Jung closed his eyes, feeling the trap closing. I'll handle it. Promise me you'll go back. Jasmine already felt terrible thinking she'd done something wrong. Just give her another chance. Please? The please got him. Ji-won rarely asked him for anything, knowing the kind of man he was, the kind of life he led. When she did ask, it mattered. Fine. I'll reschedule. Thank you. And Appa? Whatever business emergency pulled you away, I hope it's resolved. You sounded different on the phone yesterday when you confirmed the appointment. Lighter somehow. I liked it. After hanging up, Kim Jung sat in his office as evening painted Seoul in shades of purple and gold. He pulled up Essence Boutique's website again, staring at Jasmine's picture. Minho was right. Ji-won was right. He couldn't keep living as a ghost. But the fear was real too. The fear of what wanting her might cost. The fear of dragging her into darkness. The fear of feeling something again only to have it ripped away. His phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. His body tensed automatically, instincts honed by years of living in Seoul's shadows. He opened it carefully. Mr. Kim, this is Jasmine Park from Essence Boutique. Your sister gave me your number. I wanted to apologize if I made you uncomfortable yesterday. That wasn't my intention. I'd like to offer you another appointment, at whatever time works best for your schedule. No pressure, no personal questions. Just professional service. Let me know if you'd like to reschedule. Jasmine. Kim Jung read the message 3 times. She'd reached out. Apologized for something that wasn't her fault. Offered him an out while leaving the door open. Everything about the message was kind, professional, considerate. Everything that his world wasn't. He typed a response, deleted it. Typed another, deleted that too. What was he supposed to say? That she'd done nothing wrong except exist in a way that broke through 6 months of numbness? That her voice alone had accomplished what 3 specialists and countless treatments couldn't? That he was terrified of seeing her again because it might confirm that she was the key to something he thought was lost forever? Finally, he settled on simple honesty. Tomorrow. 7 p.m. After your regular hours. I'll make it worth the inconvenience. Her response came quickly. 7 p.m. works perfectly. See you then, Mr. Kim. Kim Jung set down his phone and realized his hands were shaking. Tomorrow. He'd see her tomorrow. And either it would confirm that yesterday was real, or it would prove it was a fluke, a momentary glitch in his damaged system. He didn't know which option scared him more. That night, Kim Jung did something he hadn't done in months. He stood in front of his bathroom mirror and really looked at himself. The scars from the attack had faded but were still visible. His body had healed physically, the broken bones mended, the torn muscles repaired. But the invisible damage had persisted, turning him into a hollow version of himself. What would Jasmine see when she looked at him? A powerful man? A dangerous one? Or would she somehow see past all that to the broken parts underneath? And why did he care what she saw? He'd spent years cultivating an image of controlled menace, making sure people feared him before they could hurt him. But with her, that image felt like a burden instead of armor. Sleep eluded him again. Kim Jung lay in his massive bed and watched shadows move across the ceiling, counting down the hours until 7 p.m. Anticipation mixed with dread in his chest, a feeling he hadn't experienced in so long he'd almost forgotten what it was like to want something beyond survival. At 6 a.m. he gave up on sleep and went to his private gym. He pushed his body hard, trying to exhaust the nervous energy that had been building since yesterday. The physical exertion helped, but it couldn't silence his mind. By noon he'd showered, dressed in casual clothes that still probably cost more than most people's monthly rent, and was pacing his penthouse like a caged animal. Minho showed up at 2 with updates on their operations in Gangnam. Kim Jung barely heard half of what he said, his attention fractured. "Boss, you're not listening to a word I'm saying." "I'm listening." The shipment from Incheon cleared customs without issues. The property acquisition in Itaewon is proceeding as planned. The situation with the Russian contacts needs monitoring but isn't critical yet. Minho raised an eyebrow. "Okay, so you were listening. But you're still somewhere else mentally. Is this about tonight?" "I'm going back to the boutique." "I figured. What changed your mind?" "I don't know. Everything. Nothing." Kim Jung stopped pacing, running a hand through his hair. "Maybe I need to know if yesterday was real. Maybe I need to prove to myself that I can be in the same room with her without falling apart. Or maybe I'm just tired of being afraid. Fear keeps you alive in our business. Fear also keeps you from living. There's a difference." Kim Jung grabbed his jacket. "I'm leaving early. Clear my schedule for the rest of the day. It's only 2 p.m. Your appointment isn't until 7. "I know. I need to drive. Clear my head." Kim Jung spent the next 4 hours driving through Seoul, no destination in mind, just movement. He drove past neighborhoods he controlled, past businesses that paid him protection money, past the warehouse where everything had gone wrong 6 months ago. The city looked different somehow, more vibrant, like someone had adjusted the contrast on reality. At 6:45 he parked outside Essence Boutique. The lights were still on inside, but he could see Jasmine moving around, clearly preparing to close for regular customers before his appointment. She looked relaxed, graceful, completely at ease in her space. Everything he wasn't. Kim Jung sat in his car and wondered if he was making a massive mistake. Then he thought about the alternative, going back to his penthouse, back to existing instead of living, back to the numbness. That decided it. At exactly 7 p.m. he walked through the boutique door. The chimes sounded, and Jasmine looked up from where she'd been arranging fabric samples. Her face broke into a warm smile that hit Kim Jung like a physical force. She'd changed from yesterday, wearing fitted black pants and a cream silk blouse that somehow made her look both professional and effortlessly beautiful. "Mr. Kim, right on time. Thank you for coming back." She moved toward him, her posture open and welcoming. "I promise to make this as painless as possible." "You don't need to apologize for yesterday," Kim Jung said, his voice steadier than he felt. "The emergency was real. Just unfortunate timing." "Well, I'm glad we have another chance." She gestured toward the back of the boutique. "I've set up a private area for your fitting. More comfortable, less exposed to street traffic. Would you like something to drink? Coffee, tea, water?" "Water is fine." As she moved to get his drink, Kim Jung studied the space more carefully than he had yesterday. The boutique was intimate but well-designed, every piece carefully curated. He could see her taste in the selections, sophisticated without being pretentious, elegant without being cold. The space felt like an extension of her personality, warm and inviting. Jasmine returned with water in a crystal glass and led him to a private fitting area in the back. Soft lighting, a full-length mirror, a comfortable chair, and several garment racks holding what he assumed were her selections for him. Classical music played softly, something piano, gentle and unobtrusive. "So," she said, pulling out a tablet. "Let's start fresh. Tell me about this gala. What's the vibe? Formal? Traditional? Is there a theme?" "Winter Charity Gala. Raises money for children's education programs. Very formal. Mostly old money and politicians trying to look philanthropic." Jasmine's lips quirked. "You don't sound enthusiastic about it." "I'm not. My sister sits on the board. I attend because she asks me to." "That's sweet. You must care about her a lot." She pulled a garment bag from the rack. "Okay, let's talk about what you're comfortable with. Your sister mentioned you usually wear black or navy. Is that preference or habit?" Kim Jung considered the question. "Habit, I suppose. Dark colors are safer. Less noticeable. But you're 6 feet tall with a presence that commands attention the moment you walk into a room. Mr. Kim, you're not made to be unnoticeable. She unzipped the garment bag, revealing a charcoal suit with subtle texture. What if we go with something still dark but with more dimension? This is charcoal wool with a very fine herringbone pattern. Sophisticated, powerful, but not trying to disappear. She held the jacket up and even Kim Jung could see the quality. The fabric caught the light, revealing depth and craftsmanship. He reached out, touching the material, and his fingers brushed hers accidentally. That same electricity from yesterday shot through him, and he saw her eyes widen slightly. She'd felt it too. It's good fabric, he managed, withdrawing his hand. It's exceptional fabric, she corrected gently. British wool, tailored by a master craftsman in Savile Row. Try it on? Kim Jung nodded, shrugging off his jacket. As he slipped into the suit jacket, Jasmine moved around him with professional efficiency, adjusting the shoulders, checking the sleeve length, evaluating the fit. But every time her hands touched him, even through layers of clothing, his body responded. Heat bloomed wherever she made contact. His pulse elevated. That impossible awareness intensifying with each passing moment. The shoulders are perfect, she murmured, stepping back to evaluate. But we'll need to take in the waist slightly. You're leaner than the standard fit. How does it feel? Good. His voice came out rough and he cleared his throat. Comfortable. Good isn't good enough. How does it really feel? Does the fabric irritate your skin? Are the shoulders restrictive? Can you move freely? She demonstrated, raising her arms, bending slightly. I need you to be honest, Mr. Kim. A suit should feel like a second skin, not a costume. Kim Jung moved experimentally, raising his arms, rolling his shoulders. The jacket moved with him, no restriction, no pulling. It feels natural. Like it was made for me. Jasmine's smile was radiant. Because it will be. That's the point of custom tailoring. Now let's talk about shirts and accessories. For the next 40 minutes they went through options. Shirts in varying shades of white and cream, each with subtle differences in collar style and fabric weight. Ties in deep jewel tones that complemented the charcoal suit. Pocket squares. Cufflinks. Jasmine explained each choice, her passion for her work evident in every word. And through it all, Kim Jung felt alive. Not just because of the physical response his body was having to her presence, though that was still there, constant and undeniable. But because she talked to him like he was human. She teased him when he gave one-word answers. She challenged his choices when she thought she had better options. She treated him like a person, not a threat or a transaction. You're good at this, he said during a pause while she was noting measurements. Jasmine looked up, surprised. At styling? At making people feel comfortable. It's a rare skill. Thank you. I think fashion is ultimately about helping people feel confident in their own skin. The clothes are just tools. She tilted her head, studying him with those warm brown eyes. Can I ask you something personal? You can tell me, it's none of my business. Kim Jung tenset reflexively. Ask. Yesterday when you left so abruptly and even now you seem like you're carrying something heavy. I don't know what it is and you don't have to tell me. But I want you to know that whatever it is, it doesn't change how I see you. You're still just a person who needs a suit for his sister's gala. That's all this has to be if that's what you need. Her words hit him harder than any punch he'd ever taken. She saw him. Really saw him. And instead of running from whatever darkness she sensed, she was offering understanding without demanding explanations. 6 months ago, something happened, he heard himself say. Something that changed me. Made me different. Broken in ways I thought were permanent. And yesterday when I met you, I realized maybe I wasn't as broken as I believed. That terrified me more than the breaking did. Jasmine set down her tablet, giving him her full attention. Being afraid of hope is sometimes worse than being afraid of despair. At least with despair you know where you stand. Hope is risky. Hope means you might have to try again. Yes. The word came out barely above a whisper. Exactly that. For what it's worth, Mr. Kim, I think you're braver than you realize. You came back. That takes courage. She smiled softly. And for the record, I don't see broken when I look at you. I see someone who's survived something terrible and is still standing. That's not broken. That's strong. Kim Jung felt something crack in his chest, something that had been frozen for 6 months. Why are you being so kind to me? You don't know me. Don't know what I've done, what I'm capable of. I know you love your sister enough to do something you hate because she asked. I know you appreciate quality craftsmanship. I know you're honest even when honesty is uncomfortable. That's enough for me to know you're worth kindness. The moment stretched between them, loaded with unspoken understanding. Kim Jung wanted to tell her everything. About the attack, about the warehouse, about the 6 months of darkness and the impossibility of what she was doing to him. But the words wouldn't come. Some truths were too dangerous to speak aloud. We should finish, he said instead. It's getting late. Jasmine nodded, though something in her eyes suggested she understood all the things he wasn't saying. They completed the fitting, finalizing details for alterations and accessories. When everything was settled, Kim Jung pulled out his wallet to pay the deposit. Your sister already covered everything, Jasmine said. This is her gift to you. That's too generous. Let me at least. Mr. Kim, your sister is one of my best clients and a friend. Please let her do this. It makes her happy. Jasmine walked him toward the door. Your suit will be ready in 2 weeks. I'll call you for a final fitting to make sure everything is perfect. They stood at the door, the evening city sounds filtering in from outside. Kim Jung knew he should leave. Should thank her and walk away and maintain professional distance. But his feet wouldn't move. Jasmine, he said, using her first name deliberately. Would you like to have dinner with me? Not as a client. Just as someone who would like to know you better. Her eyes widened slightly, surprise flickering across her face. Mr. Kim. Kim Jung. If we're having dinner, you should call me Kim Jung. A slow smile spread across her face, warm and genuine. Kim Jung. I would like that. When? Tomorrow night? I know a place. Quiet, good food, private. Tomorrow works. Should I meet you there? I'll pick you up. 8 p.m.? 8 p.m. She pulled out her phone. Let me give you my address. After they exchanged information, Kim Jung finally forced himself to leave. He walked to his car in a daze, his mind reeling. He'd asked her to dinner. She'd said yes. This was happening. Whatever this was, it was real and happening and terrifying and exhilarating all at once. He drove home with his heart pounding, feeling more alive than he had in 6 months. When he arrived at his penthouse, Minho was waiting with updates that couldn't wait until morning. But for once, Kim Jung didn't care about business. He sat down and actually smiled. Boss, are you okay? You look different. I asked her to dinner. She said yes. Minho's eyebrows shot up. Jasmine? The boutique owner? Tomorrow night. That's good. That's really good, boss. Minho studied him carefully. But you need to be careful. If the wrong people find out you're interested in someone? I know the risks. Kim Jung's smile faded. But I can't keep living in fear of what might happen. She makes me feel human again, Minho. That's worth protecting. Then we'll protect her. Quietly. She doesn't need to know, but I'll make sure she's safe. Thank you so much for watching this story unfold. I hope you're as invested in Kim Jung and Jasmine's journey as I am. Welcome to Black and Korean Chronicles, where we explore powerful stories at the intersection of two rich cultures. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe and hit that notification bell because part 2 of this story is coming soon, and trust me, you do not want to miss what happens next. Will their dinner bring them closer, or will Kim Jung's dangerous world destroy any chance they have at happiness? Drop your predictions in the comments below. And please share this video with anyone who loves compelling stories about second chances and forbidden connections. Your support means everything to this channel. Part 2 drops soon and the stakes are about to get much higher. Until then, thank you for being here and remember, some connections are worth fighting for, no matter how dangerous the fight becomes. I'll see you in the next one.